How's everybody doing tonight? Man, I am dragging and tired. So, see who falls in. I'm sure you saw the thumbnail. We'll talk a little bit about government employment. Let me get my chat box up. Once again, let a few people roll in. See if I can find myself on YouTube. Ooh, man, I am dragging. It's just Tuesday. What's up, Diamond? Glad you can join me. Give me one if you can hear me. Give me one in the chat if you can hear me. Let's see. I think I'm good. Yeah. Give me a one in the chat if you can hear me. Shout out to XL Pro joining me. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Jabron. Shout out to XL Pro, to Jabron. Got the ones in there. You know how we do it. If you got any IT or cybersecurity questions, just drop them in the box and we'll get to them. Um, I was on Gabe's live last night. What's up, Josh J? Glad you can join me. And I always tell people if you're starting out or you need a place to go, state employment's good. A lot of states have top technology. I worked at a large state agency as a consultant, though, but they were always looking for good people, and all the young guys or even people that came, they stayed for 2 or 3 years and they doubled their salary. Because if you touching Cisco, Oracle, trying to think of all this stuff, Splunk, Elk Cash, they had a lot of great technology that was hot. So once they got their year, 2, 3 years experience, and they can go double their salary. And I seen one young guy triple his salary. And two is when you working with those big technologies, the vendors there because they selling it to you, so they're cherry picking some of the good people. So we're gonna just kind of dovetail off of that. But once again, if you got any other questions, just drop them in the box. Let's see. Any need to worry about cyber attacks coming out of the Middle East due to the current conflict? I don't think it's due to the Middle East. I just think in general. I think United States is a huge target, and a lot of people don't realize if you Google Stuck's next, Iran. I mean, us and Israel attacked Iran's nuclear power plant. That's really what got all these cyber attacks started. So, Jabron, specifically for the Middle East, I don't. You might get a little uptick, but I don't think it's going to be huge. All their adversaries, because us and Israel, right? We kind of ride together. So all those same people were trying to attack us before the war are the same ones attacking us now. So I don't think it's going to be a huge uptick in that. And two is the weird thing, Jabron. I think you're going to have the opposite effect because with the war going on, right? I heard we were sending 2 big warships. So now you're going to have your nerves focusing out. We might put boots on the ground because we already in the area, right? So we're going to be running, this is just hearsay. We're going to be running special operations already on that side of the world because of the war. So I don't think you want to start poking us in the eye with the nerves. What's up, XL Pro? Chime in what you think on that, Jabron. What's your thoughts on that? I don't think anybody's gonna focus in the eye while we over there. So we're gonna have boots on the ground. We're gonna have some special forces in the air. We're gonna have everybody on high alert. So I don't think people gonna poke us in the eye. So I think so. That's my thoughts on it. Because like I said, we're gonna speculation. I think we're gonna have some light boots on the ground. We got big warships going over there, so you hack something we don't like, we gonna airdrop on you. Why we just happen to be in the area? So now I think we're gonna have the opposite effect of that. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I probably need to think on a little more, but just thinking off the top, yeah, I think we're gonna have the the opposite effect of that. Like I said, all our adversaries they were our adversaries before this. So So like I said, I don't think it's gonna be an uptick. So we're gonna just talk about a little bit about me. My name is Professor Black Ops. I've been on YouTube for 2 or 3 years. I taught community college for 10. I worked at DOD as a consultant for 11. I worked at Indiana State, large state agency for 10 as a consultant. I have 30 plus years in IT. I got 15 years in security. I've been everything from a programmer, DBA, web admin, application admin. Then I got into cybersecurity because when I was at DoD, they started doing NIST, and it's called STIG, is their hardening implementation. I was working on a web team, so I was hardening databases, web servers, and app servers. And I was working with the program team. Shout out to DevSecOps, making sure they were hardening the program. If you go look onto my YouTube page, there's a compliance playlist, and we're going to talk about some of those compliances that the federal government uses, and when the federal government pushes it down, all the states have to abide by it. Everybody knows HIPAA, purpose education. I do IRS. It's called IRS Pup 1075. Each state has a Department of Revenue that has to abide by those federal compliances. Right? So that's why I say if you learn a federal compliance, then you go work for a state. That's how you can help you get in the door, aka GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. And we're going to dig a little bit more in that. So those compliances like HIPAA goes on hospitals. Once again, IRS goes to Department of Revenue. CISA, and we're going to look at some of those. What's up, casual economists? That CISA is a compliance by the FBI, and that goes down to all your law enforcement, state police, local police. Because when you take fingerprints and trade information, when you get locked up, right, there's PII. So CISA tells you how to harden and move with that data. Right. So we're going to talk about some of those compliances once again, federal work and private work, but there's a lot of private people trying to get that federal money. And I think I got a quick slide. One of the biggest RPs that just got handed out. And once again, we're going to go through that. Two is just drop any of your questions in the box and we can always pivot and go to other stuff. What's happening? PBO and company. What's up, Akin? Glad you can join me. And once again, so I worked in the Fed/state for 20 years. I always tell people tax money's infinite. So that's a good place to hide in a recession, right? So they always going to tax people, right? So I always tell people try to find somewhere safe. So the rumor is, are we going to be in a recession or not? So, right, that's up for the debate. So I got about 4 slides. Once again, I'm just kind of talking off the dome. I was on Struggle Security Gabe's channel. We kind of touched on this a little bit, so I just thought I would expand on it while I was up. I try to do somebody call it Tuesday nights with PBO, late night with PBO. So I just like, what am I going to talk about? So once again, we're just talking about the shit money, good places to work. Once again, different compliances. That's a hidden gem of cybersecurity. Because when you work for some kind of federal agency, state agency, they're usually reporting to somebody in the federal. Once again, IRS. I appreciate your struggle. I'm about to get that 10 back to you. Shout out to my man. Go subscribe to him. He chipping in on the PBO barbecue fund. So we were chatting back there. I'll drop the link. I don't know if he's hanging out with the babies tonight. Shout out to Miss Struggle. She came back to him. So I'm super happy. I'm going to have to roll out to Detroit and take him to dinner. But once again, we're going to talk about how the Fed flows down to the state and how you can get a job at the state to kind of get you into the game, get you into a IT career or specifically a cybersecurity career. So we're going to talk about different agencies. All right, I dropped anybody can come up, but I'm dropping the link. So like I said, I know Gabe being the game, so we can chop it up. But once again, anybody can come up. Oh, let me put my damn headset on while I'm talking. Let me see. Where am I? But yeah, so once again, I worked at the DOD for 10, and I worked at, I said, Department of Revenue for the state of Indiana for, 10 years. So I had 20 altogether in the Fed/state. Um, Once again, I was consultant, so I made a little more than the average state employee. Um, the one thing, the other thing too is I forgot who asked me. Probably, I want to say 15 years ago, somebody offered me in the Fed um, a GS-13. I didn't take it. Sometime I'll be kind of going back and forth. The cap on the 13th is not super high, and two is I know my man definitely knows. Jabron know this. Trying to get a 14 in the GS area, ooh, that's on a whole nother level, man. I don't know a lot of 14s. I know quite a few 13s, but when you're trying to jump for 14, those ranges are still pretty big. But when you're trying to get to a 14 in a GS scale, that's on a whole nother plane. So that's why I didn't take the Fed GS-13. And that'll be another thing we might talk about at the end. I dropped the link, Gabe, if you see it. Yeah, the 13 and two is the other thing is he said, yeah, the other thing too that's always is going going from a 13 or 14 is, but once again, I'm gonna throw this to Jabron is by now though I could have had 10 years and I could have had a partial retirement. So I always kind of throw that up. I was like, okay, if I could have did a quick 10, and I still might, if I get where I want to in a 2 or 3 years, I might go to a state or Fed and do 10 and get a partial retirement. But I don't know. Shout out to Gabe. Detroit declared bankruptcy, man. They were giving some of their retirees haircuts, man. So I don't know if I could trust them cities and states anymore. What's up, Gabe, man?
Hey, how's it going, man? We going all week long, man. Everybody gonna stream up on a different day.
Yeah, I just did it. This was my late night with PBO. I usually go late night on
Nothing wrong with that.
Tuesday. Yeah, so kind of continuation where we at. I'm gonna talk about Fed and those compliances and how they flow down to the state.
Okay, cool. I'll ride along.
All right. So yeah, I'm just gonna just kind of freestyle. I got a couple poorly done slides I did. This is one of the big contracts that the government gave out to not all of them, for the big cloud vendors. Once again, Google, Oracle, Microsoft, and Amazon was sharing a Pentagon $9 billion. I think this was 2022 to build the computing network. A year after accusations of politicization over the previously announced contract. Shout out to Trump. He hated Bezos, so he didn't give him any. He didn't let he didn't let Amazon any. So when he didn't get president, which I'm always weird. Amazon actually sued the process. They redid it, then they gave it to the four big vendors. To be honest, I thought Rackspace was going to be in it before Oracle. I'll let you chime in on that.
I'm not that familiar with all of the cloud vendors. I just know the big three. I'm not even that familiar with Oracle.
Oh, yeah. Oracle's big because they made their money in a database. So they were familiar with your favorite. I'll let Stiggin and CISA and Oracle was doing that in the 90s, man, because they were the first big database that the government signed off on. So before you had to really do a big Fed, we ran all our stuff on Oracle. Because Microsoft SQL Server, Windows back then couldn't scale that well.
So that must be the reason why I don't know too much about Oracle.
Yeah, that's before your time. Yeah,
the bane of my existence, man. I'm telling you.
Shout out to that. But yeah, so you see, the government got big contracts. So, and we're going to touch on some of the big compliances. All these big cloud vendors has those compliances checked off, so you can come give them the money. So if you're gonna do sieges for the FBI, HIPAA for health and hospital, Gabe is familiar with this. That's the Fed stuff, and I got a slide coming up next that lists, I think, like 10 of them of those.
Let me ask a quick question.
Yeah, go
about
ahead, bro.
that. So is it that? So do they kind of go on hiring sprees once they win these big contracts like this one? Do they start just bringing a whole bunch of folk to do the work for the government, or is it just kind of like they just try to staff it internally?
Well, it's weird. You're gonna like this. I think what Amazon does is it's weird. They say, okay, we got $9 billion. We got all these cloud centers that's the size of football fields. You can spin up in BMs and that. But I think you got big companies like yours, Accenture, Booz Allen. They could come in and configure it and still, bid on those government contracts. They just got to install whatever they build on those four cloud platforms.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, because I
Yeah.
know that the
Hmm.
firm that I work for, they have some work with who has these big data centers? Is it I think it is Microsoft. Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
Microsoft. They have huge data centers. So I'm
Yeah.
like, was that a part of some of that work? And I
Yep.
bet it was.
Yep,
And I
it
bet
is.
it was. Yep.
So two, they can have their own consultants, but two is, as you well know, some big consultants have certain domain knowledge that even these guys
Yeah.
don't have, right?
Yeah.
So they, but what the government says is, okay, you can pick some consultants, but we want on these data centers because they're in certain areas. They got the database, like you said, STIG or CIS or HIPAA
Hmm.
High Trust. They got all those services already complied for. Now you just got to put the pieces together, right,
Right.
and build them.
Right.
So what they saying is we got 9 billion for these firms. And two is the weird thing is these firms are going to start partnering with other people because they know they don't have all that domain talent
Right.
on staff either. So I think it's working together,
Strategic partnerships. I
as you
see
well
those a
know.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when generals, people got generals on their staff that know generals and
Hmm.
politicians. And I work for a small company. We had a lobbyist, which I thought was crazy.
Oh wow.
So, and I
Got
know
that whole
big
money.
companies, and shout out, I'll tell a quick story. PBO got yelled at by Microsoft lobbyists.
Oh really?
Yeah, I told them Azure was a piece of shit. I said,
Oh man. You brought that
PB,
on.
yeah, they said PBO didn't know what they did. So, true story. They told my boss, who talked to the second ranking Senate guy in the state of Indiana, who came to visit us. So, long
Oh
story,
man.
he come visit us. So, me and my boss goes in and we talked to the second. He was a cool guy. He said, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, we reviewing the software. We had some problems with them. They didn't want to do that." I said, "We're trying to help the citizens of Indiana." He goes, "I support you 100%."
Yeah.
So then
That's what's
Microsoft
up.
turned it around. They sent a special person to come and be friends with PBO. They said, "We're here to
Really?
make you happy." Yeah, because I was tearing their ass up. But I had documentation. I was like, "I'm not making this up.
Oh
Here's my
man.
documentation. Here's this your favorite thing. Here's my STIG. Here's my Irish pub, and we're gonna talk about so." And I started laying them out. I'm not making this up. So they had a person that came and talked to me, and we worked together. I should have went and worked for Microsoft while I had my shot, but
Yeah. See, man, I save all my energy for these YouTube panels.
I see, man.
I don't be turning up at work like that.
Oh man, but we talked about that, man. I might
Yeah.
have overstepped. I thought the little boy gave me a little
No, I got you.
little microaggression. So like you I had to put
Mhm.
my what was your black Air Force Ones, man.
Black Air Force Ones.
I
Yeah.
had to stretch on him a little bit. He wasn't ready, man. I didn't like his condescending tone. I was like, PBO a little too old for that, homie. So let's go.
Yeah.
I'm not scared.
And that's the thing, right? You all are the customer. So a lot of times the
Facts.
customer has way more leeway in a
Well,
lot of these discussions.
as a big company, and two is big companies with big people, and when you go on, especially a government, you don't think they good, they try to run over you.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not about that life. I'm a consultant too. That's my favorite word. You didn't Google PBO. You should have
Yeah,
Googled that.
man.
So I
Yeah,
had to get.
Googly.
But long story short, we came in. They made some changes. We got some back end edits, and I put in enhancement tickets, and they made it happen. So it was
Awesome.
so it was all good.
It worked
So
out.
yeah. So, but nah, like you said, I ain't gonna just let nobody run over me, man. I
Hmm.
know this is, but here's some, and I pulled this off of AWS. I know I'm an AWS fanboy, and a lot of these I try to. By the end of the year, I'm gonna have a video on all of these compliances. So these are just some high level ones. Sieges, that's usually for the FBI. So if you're a state police, first responder, you get any prisoner data or data with fingerprints on it, you got to do
Okay.
sieges, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Default, oh
This is
yeah,
all new to me. Yeah.
okay, yeah, this is my
Yeah.
world right here. Yeah,
Yeah.
DFAR is right there, Defense Federal Acquisition. So when DoD's buying stuff and you're moving DoD data, sometimes you got to do DFARs. DoD SRG is part of STIGs. Once again, DoD. FedRAMP, what happened is everybody was doing their own assessment. So now, like we saw that 9 billion. So now Amazon says we're FedRAMP. You don't need to do an assessment. The government's already did that assessment. So
Mm.
all
Okay.
those four are FedRAMP, so you don't have to from a hardware data center perspective. They already got I hate when my boss said this, but it makes sense. The good housekeeping seal of approval. That's the whole thing.
Mm.
So when you see FedRAMP, all their cameras, data centers, dots, how they tracking hardware and software, all that's
Right.
been approved with FedRAMP. So they have to get that approved every year, right? Purpose education. FIPS is a lot of times encryption security. FISMA, once again, is kind of DOD. I did this for a friend. GXP is actually pharmaceutical. If you're creating drugs, that's GXP is compliance. We know HIPAA and high trust, that's hospital at the highest level, which is the high trust. ITAR, if you're moving arms, like we were talking about, going over to Israel and all that stuff, that's ITAR. When you're moving arms and regulation, they got their own stuff. Media and NIST is, I call that the blanket one. And on the side, you see no formal certifications, but still cloud service provider, legal and regulatory domains. There's a cloud domain, once again, HIPAA. IRS 1075, we talked about an ITAR. So those are, like they said, laws and regulations. You got anything on that? You want to
Nope.
add?
Like,
Like, all right, shout out to everybody. Shout out to Master IT. Go check him out. He's doing some good training out there. Thanks for the 20. Shout out to my man Network, bro. We're gonna do some stigging and some stuff. Okay. I have to have a FCI NCI certification for my job accessing CGIS network. Shout out to that. I put that in your Discord too. Let me know if you want to chop it up about that network, bro. I got a little background, especially on the CGIS part. I've done probably 5 CGIS assessments. Long story short, when I worked for the Department of Revenue, the police was going out for taxes for the IRS. So they had to be IRS put 1075. And since, of course, they were arresting people for certain things, we had to get our CGIS game up. But yeah, that CGIS is it. Once again, go check out Network, bro. I work for him inside of his Discord. I put that in, I think, in your general tab, Network, bro. Go check that out. Once again, appreciate you, OG. I appreciate you. But once again, check out my man Master IT. He's doing some good training. Go check him out. Do your research on everybody, but he seems to be having some good stuff out there, man. Let's see what else I got. But yeah, once again, this is kind of my area, part of GRC compliance and understanding that. And it's weird. Probably, what did you say, Gabe? 60 or 70% reporting some kind of compliance out there.
yeah, I
I
would
mean,
say that. Yeah.
that's why I tell people it's part of learning. And my man Network, bro, once again, thank for the $5 for the barbecue. He's a network guy, Cisco guy. He has to make sure the Cisco's hardening to those sieges. The sieges I put in there actually had a network diagram and a best practices they wanted him to follow. So once
Okay.
again, I shout that out to him. I sure hopefully we're gonna do a collab. You know, Gabe, I do Stig CIS. I always go on this channel. I used to give him the Stig of the day. Gabe is
Mm.
not accepting the Stig of the day. He probably would block me.
Yep.
But
That's what I'll
yeah,
do.
but yeah, network, bro. He's usually doing something with BGP as a protocol in Cisco, or
Okay.
he's doing some router or something. So I usually look up a Stig that kind of fits whatever he's talking about. So I
Yeah.
usually try to give him the Stig of the day.
Oh,
Just
cool.
kind of like you, like Gay say, so he can put his toe in there. You won't get too deep in there. You won't get too deep in there.
Man.
So let's see. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling. And once again, like we talked about, coming from the federal, I put these kind of four as the big ones I see in a lot of states. HIPAA, everybody's know you got to do your hospital. CGIS is one because the state police, first responders, people getting arrested. A lot of people don't know that comes from the FBI. IRS, every state has a Department of Revenue where you pay your state taxes. When you pay your state taxes, they bump what you put on your state taxes to the federal. So that's why the IRS has compliances that come down to your state and your BMV and DMV, right? We know we're keeping your license plate. Now, though, with the Real ID, I think that's a little deeper with the connections, your picture. They trying to get one, I guess, federal's. I'm calling it a certification or a blueprint for your license, I guess, to make them more standard. What you got? Any thoughts on that?
Nope, not that one.
Okay. So yeah, but once again, so we talk about how the Fed pushes down to the state, how you can go to the state and hopefully get you a job, sneak into the systems around the gatekeeper. Once again, I was consulting at Indiana Department of Revenue for 10 years. They offered me a job. I just could make a little more money in the private sector. So I thought I'd get my toe back out there and just start interviewing. Where do you find the diagrams from people? I just took images off of Google. I just Googled the images up, nothing super
Yeah.
specific, man. I'm not, and even though I got some of the best software on the planet, I don't know how to use it. Now I'm just taking people's images, man. I just take people's images. Shout out to Before the Billions. Let me drop the link if anybody want to come back. If you want to come up, I know y'all young guys are busy, but put you out there. But like I said, HIPAA, CGIS, IRS, BMV, DMV. So if you work at your local state or even city or a lot of cities, I know cities are hiring people. Cities don't pay well. I didn't think the state pay well. Cities don't pay well at all, man. You want to chime in that? I was hurt when I saw what cities pay. Go ahead.
No, it's just the budget, right? They really don't have a budget, but a lot of times they try to they try to hook you up with those benefits, like those like retirement benefits. I think they have a pretty good like 401k program for a lot of cities too. But yeah, they pretty much focusing you in there on that retirement.
Yeah,
You
but
can still get a pension.
Yeah, but I tell people it's a good place to start because they have a hard time finding people. The weird thing though is a lot of times they get fed money so they can pay a consultant a little more for a shorter period of time. I had a guy reach out to me from the city, said, I saw him, we were eating lunch. He goes, man, I want you. He said, I ain't gonna even insult you, man. I can't even get close to what you want, man.
Yeah.
I like find me some consultant money. He said, I'm trying, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I think that is a thing there too, right? Because you get to take a program and you pretty much get to run it from bottom to top, like you. It's almost like you're a baby, like nah. But if you're working in consulting or working in a lot of these other roles, you're going from project to project, from customer to customer, environment to environment. So it can be a bit. You're not really building up that momentum, and you're not growing in your, I guess, projects.
Don't you think? I think you grow a little different though, right? I think, like you said, in the city and the state, you get to own it, right? Because you kind of, I like you said, I kind of, when I work with that, usually I was lucky. I was working with some of the top people on the planet, like the Oracle guys came in, so I was watching what they do, and I was like, shit, I've been doing that wrong for 10 years, right?
Yeah,
right. Sometimes, I mean, because that's how I feel. I just lucky, I was working with some top Cisco guys, some top Oracle guys, some top developers. I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing Java all wrong, man. I'm doing Java like
more.
Go ahead.
Oh no, it's good. No, I was gonna say I think I'm more of like dedicated to a project, because I know there's times where I can't get so deep into a subject matter. I have to because I gotta switch frames. I gotta switch to a different project. So maybe that's more of what I'm thinking about. But I can see your point too.
Yeah. No, I can see your point too, because I think, like you said, especially at your level, I was more staff aug. So I'm gonna be there, like I'm really part of the staff, so I can dig in. Then there was other consultants there from other companies that was on. They wasn't in the same team I'm on. They was on a different team, but in the same org, so we had to work together, right? And those goons, some dudes don't want to show you anything. They were cool, like, nah, man, what you want to know? And I showed them what I know. So then I was like, I was like learning. I was like, oh my God. I was kind of like I said, what I was doing was adequate. But like you said, when you're talking about Fang and Google, you're trying to do, 10 billion rows in 4 hours. What I was doing was gonna never work.
A lot of work.
So that's how you learn. Let me see what my man EKN said. Work's been lighting up in some of the IT world. Fang been dropping people randomly. Going to have to start watching more of you. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, you got to be careful out there. And two is, I think, Gabe, you always got to have a backup plan and a plan B. Rest in peace, a guy. He had a veteran contract in Dayton, Ohio. So I always felt like if something happened to me, I could go be a PM and make 100 until I figured out what happened, right? My man passed away. He was in a wheelchair. He hurt himself, oh my God, 20, 30 years ago, and he just passed away. So he used to always tell me, man, just call me. I got something for you if you really, really need it, man. So you got to have Yeah, you gotta have those resources and people you can reach out to in a hurry. But hopefully, we're gonna talk about this on a different stream. Hopefully, you got your 3 months and your 6 months saved up. You got some backup
Mhm.
plans, and some backup servers. Some backup money, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that. But no, I appreciate you, EKNL. Come check us out for the billions. What's up? Let's see, going through few of these before we get back. Yes, let me get a few. Okay, it's in there. Desmond, let's see what Desmond say. People, do you still consult on career? Oh yeah, anytime. Just reach out. Professor Black Ops at gmail.com. I was talking to my homie from Australia a couple weeks ago, so which I
Hmm.
thought was interesting. We reached out. I think he's gonna show up today. We were just chopping it up about how many people. Yeah, and Desmond, reach out to my man Gabe, B2B's out there. Black Heights is out there. All of us to reach out to you. I think you should get advice from a lot of people.
Hmm.
But yeah, you could definitely reach out to me. I always say I'm old, so some of my advice might be dated. But that's the
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
we talked a little bit about there. I'm just finally coming around with about talking about salaries. So
Mhm.
PBO trying to learn too. PBO trying to learn
I
too.
would even say it's still even new for me, right? I mean, even when
Yeah.
I first started working like full time, like 2012 when I graduated. Dang, man, it's almost been 11 years
Yeah,
since I've been out
man.
of college.
I tell people
Undergrad.
should go by quick, man. I would go
Ah,
ahead.
man, 11 years now. But back then, people didn't talk about salaries at all. So yeah, it's a
Oh,
lot that's still new now. So yeah.
no, fact. Shout out to my man Network, bro. He was like cities. He put really in the. I'm gonna say like really. Don't pay. I started out making breadcrumbs as a PC tech for Podak Town, but
Oh
we gonna
man.
highlight he got in the game though. He
Yeah.
got his foot in the door, but he like I said, I was surprised, man. That hurt my feelings when I figured out what cities paid. Yeah, he just said it the next one. He said, "Great start though." Because
Yeah.
I did my internship. Yeah, that's why I tell people it's a good place to start. And they're begging for people because they know they can't pay. But you got to have yourself in a position to be able to hopefully not take a pay cut, but like Drake starting from the bottom. Which
Yeah.
is,
You build it up from there.
yeah, let's see what my man EK in there. I know we all hate hearing this, but start out small, save up. Yep, save up to move up. Places cost of living, IOS medium, but the pay is high, your experience. Now that's facts, man. But a lot of people, you be getting those bills. Gov IT is the way for retirement, in my opinion, especially if you come in at a high pay. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking because I think I'm gonna need to work to 70. So I'm thinking, well, hell, I got about 5 years to 60, get my stack
Mhm.
and go somewhere and camp out for a while.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, do I want to apply for a compliance director job? So I'm like, oh my god, I don't
Okay.
know.
Nothing wrong with that.
Man, babies, them people sometime, man, handling them people.
Yeah. It's a lot.
So I'm like, do I want to do that, man? I got out because my first team was great. My second team was horrible. Let's see.
Mm.
Let's see what A can before we get back in here. What is a realistic amount of time someone should stay in an entry level role before considering moving to the next? I usually say 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
For me, it depends on how much you're getting out of your entry level job.
Yeah.
Sometimes entry level you can turn into a mid level job because you just start taking more and more responsibility. What's your thoughts
True.
on that, man? What's your
I
thoughts?
would say milk it too, right? So
Mhm.
look for all the training opportunities, all the rotational programs, all the subjects that you really don't know that have
Right.
more senior people within those roles that you can learn from before you move to the next step. So you want to kind of go out to the next role with
Mhm.
with some fire
Right.
behind you. So I would say first milk all opportunities that you have currently there, and then keep it pushing. But
And it,
6 months to a year should be good. But yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
And the other thing too is what I did because I'm a friendly person is especially up on the help desk. You sending tickets to the security team, so you could just start asking those guys, "What do you need from me? Do you need more
Yeah.
information from the ticket?" Then you start to get to know those guys. Then you can start asking them for some smaller stuff because people don't realize they're going to be entry level even in each team. When I was a programmer, I was the junior programmer. So all the people, the trouble tickets that needed programming, they would send them to me. So really, I was part of the entry level, right? So you can start, especially if you're in a big organization, you can start moving around and just start reaching out to those guys and getting those guys, seeing them in the if you're going in the office, you can start
Yeah.
reaching out those guys. I start reaching out guys on teams and just
Really?
making up
Yeah.
stuff to talk about so I could
Yeah.
just get to know them Like I did. I reached out to somebody. You said you need this posted. I was reviewing some contracts. You needed some more contract information. What do you need out the contract? Well,
Hmm.
what you need from me? What do you need from my team? Let me make it easy for you. But that's the cloud team. So if I want to pivot to the cloud, I'm like, okay, I got my hooks with the cloud. So when I go from
Yeah.
GRC and I want to go to cloud, I already know the guy, right? So I'm gonna
Hmm.
start, pinging him more and more. So
Yeah.
let's see. You can again. Anyone talking about the Black Air Force? What that much you want to know, especially if it's
Who said
related.
that?
Like EK and that. We want to talk about. Well,
Yeah.
sometime you like, I'm not right, but if you let's see, I'm not the prop, but if you have no search, Steve Recruiter continue to talking smack about search of 1 or 2 years if you're in a bad market.
Yeah.
Yeah, but two is there's good recruiters and bad recruiters, and two is people learn at different paces, right?
Yeah.
They said 2 years, if you can suck it up out in six and show it, right? So that's it.
6 years. I
Wait,
was Man, PBO, I was talking to somebody that they were saying that they don't have a problem with remaining in the same role for 4 to 5 years.
I did, but I got to move around. I'm not going to say it was the same, bro. I was at
Yeah.
DOD for 11 years. I think I had 6 jobs when I was there.
Mm. No, this
So
person doing the same thing, and she was kind of reaching out to me because we're at the same level within our organization, and she was like, "Oh, how's like career progression going?" I'm like, "Man, either I'm going either I'm going up here or I'm going out."
no,
And
so
she was
you
like, "Well," and we came in at the same time, so we're a little over, probably closer to 2.5 years now. I'm like, "Listen, if I'm not getting promoted, I'm looking elsewhere." So I don't know what
yeah,
to tell.
but my little pushback, which isn't much though, is
Yeah,
a lot of people ain't about that climb, Gabe,
no,
because
they not. They
when you climb, sometimes you're taking a couple of dings. A lot of people don't
Yeah,
like to stretch, man. It's nothing for
yeah,
me to read some books and learn some new skills. A lot of people just want to go home to their kids and enjoy their
man.
life. I mean,
My thing
so
is that because I keep saying is I want to climb as fast as possible, as high as possible, so I can get out as quick as possible. Because I don't
well,
want to, I don't want to go
no.
long term. It's like when I say I don't want to go long term, I'm like I probably want to go another 10 to 12 years, and then I want to be out. You know what I mean?
Right. A lot of people, yeah, I think you're rare. I think a lot of people, especially, and we could talk about this in our community. If you get a
Yeah,
good job, you're just supposed to stay there and just ride it out and give your
man.
money to your family and help your friends and your family. And then my mom used to brag about me, man. She was so proud I was at DOD. I'd be
Yeah,
you come up for church. Yeah, my baby worked for DOD. I'm like, Mom,
yeah,
you
man.
don't
That's
even
the
know what
thing.
I do. You don't even
That's the
know what I
thing.
do.
Yeah,
I be here to
I-
talk to Sister Jones. Yeah, my little son, he had DOD. I'm like, you don't even
yeah.
know what I do. So,
It's
so
just the
you,
thing is that these organizations will stretch you. They will take
oh,
up all your time. They'll
and
take up
burn you
all your
up.
energy if you allow them. And I'm just like, man, I'm working for it to be less. So like if I go into another capacity or like leave corporate, then I'll probably work in like a consulting kind of fashion. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
where I'll be able to work like a 1099, do a contract 3 to 4 months, and then I'm back home. 3 to 4 months and I'm gone.
No, facts. But
Type of thing. So
you got a I think you rare, Gabe, and I get
yeah,
on you, Tim.
yeah,
so,
yeah,
and, but and two, I think both are right. If you want to get a good job, settle in,
yeah.
drive a BMW.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong
so
with it.
yeah. So I think there's something in it for everybody. So this
Yeah.
is I actually got this from Department of Revenue. It's called FTA,
Okay.
which stands for Federal Tax Association. This just shows you all the states, which we know everyone that has a Department of Revenue in it, right? And so we
Mhm.
were talking about the IRS or HIPAA. Each one of those have a state agency that reports up. So each one of these states and cities has jobs that reports to that federal compliance,
Hmm.
right? So we talked about if you want to get your foot in the door, you can go to any one of those states, and we know you got to pay your state taxes, right? So once again, they're going to have a Department of Revenue that reports to the IRS and that compliance. You could go there, hopefully, and get a GRC job or a Cisco job
Yeah.
or a Snowflake job. They usually have the best technologies because the bigger companies gives federal and states breaks on buying services, hardware, and
Splunk.
different stuff. Yep. Yeah. So what you got anything on that? So I'm
I'm not
just
just
kind of.
said like Splunk,
Oh
probably
yeah,
one of those
Splunk.
expensive things that
Oh yeah, super.
maybe government agencies might have access to.
Yep, yep. It was so yeah, it was super expensive when we looked at it. We're
It
like,
still
oh
is.
no,
It still
yeah.
is. I don't. Well, I don't know what the numbers are right now, but yeah, it still is pretty expensive.
So you got to be like a Fortune 500 company to get it almost, man.
Hmm.
So here, like, so I just got so I'm gonna go back up to the master sheet. So yeah, once again, is these are federal compliances. Like I said, we were just kind of shooting it off when we were talking about Gabe. Is so if you understand a federal compliance, you can put that along with your technology stack. AK Network bruh is a networking guy. I think he's CCNA. He's trying to get some other certs we were talking about, but he's going with sieges, so he's got to figure out how to make Cisco, Juniper, whatever he's connected to,
Yeah.
meet this compliance. So when the auditors come in like me, he can continue to get FBI data, because if the system doesn't meet those requirements, they can't take fingerprints or get FBI data, or maybe be able to arrest people, right? Same thing with
Yeah.
IRS. If you mess up, you can't bounce your data out the IRS, so you cannot collect taxes, right? If you don't meet certain
Mm.
compliances for certain things. GSXP once again is pharmaceuticals, right? So once again, these federal compliance can help you get a state or city job, right? So that's why, from a GRC perspective, I talk about this, and two is the other thing. And Gabe was talking about Splunk is how do you get requirements for the SIM? The requirements come from CGIS and FedRAMP. What do you put in the SIM? Right? How
Hmm.
do you figure out what those requirements are? They come from the federal compliance. They tell you what you need to log to once again to be able to get your data. So a lot of times it's how do you know what to do to a Cisco router? Depends on
Hmm.
what compliance I'm doing. How do you know what to do to a database? Depends on what compliance I'm doing, right? So that's where your requirements come from. A lot of times is your federal compliance tells you what you need to do as far as hardening, right? Now I'm sure
Yeah.
Gabe's gonna have some special red team stuff you need to do, and your EDR, your SDR, right? But in the end, right, that's still right. He's gonna harden it, but he still's got to make sure it meets CGIS or FIPS or FedRAMP compliance. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Gabe.
I was gonna say a lot of times customers, even if they're not in a regulated environment, that they will ask for some type of industry standard or compliance standard for the recommendations and the hardening that you're giving to those different devices. So you can't just say, "Yeah, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna configure this. You're gonna have it attached to that. You're gonna turn this on." The customer will say, like, where is this coming from? So
Facts,
a
facts.
big thing that you say is that, hey, it's in reference to this particular standard or this particular policy or something, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's weird though, but you right, but you at the highest level. I work with a lot of smaller guys. They reach out to me, they're like, we don't know what to do. I'm like, I'm gonna give you a standard. Right? Because if you're a small city like we talked about, or a
Yeah.
podunk town, a lot of times they have no idea what to do.
You know who else doesn't have anything? Don't know what to do? Many of these international companies
Oh,
or
facts, facts,
international organizations. I
facts,
mean,
facts.
you work with East Asian countries and nations that don't really have a lot of cybersecurity regulations or guidance. They just kind of just they'll take anything.
All right.
They'll take your word for it before
Oh,
they take it. They be like, "Oh, all right, cool, yeah."
no, fact. Let's see what my man Jabron said. And I'm kind of working on this too. Think
Mhm.
about your life you want to live too. The higher level, the more blood and weekends they want from you. No, that's
Mm,
go ahead.
not
That's
necessarily. Not if you're in like a more of a role like a where you delegate more.
facts,
So
facts.
sure, you might be responsible for a program, the success of it, but it's also all based upon the organization. So if you work for an organization that is more has a static type of thing, so like some of these heavily like has strong brands, like say for instance, like a Ford Motor Company or something,
Hmm,
like a
hmm.
GM, they it's not gonna be they have so many they have so much leadership, so many hands that you just
Yeah,
working on one piece of it. So a
facts.
leader for a piece of the pie, you'll be delegating to people. You set the strategy, you get updates, you get stuff reported to you, you manage the budget, those type of things. You manage resources, hiring. So it's not so much of like a whole bunch of weekends or anything. At least that's what I've heard from other leaders who are in those type of organizations.
No, right. But once again, you in the leadership. I'm usually one of the top people that got to make it work. So,
Yeah, yeah,
you're right. Like you said, it depends on where you're at in the organization. And two is hopefully you had a mature organization, like Gabe
yeah,
says. We got process and procedures. We got canned scripts. So it's not something we doing from scratch a lot of times, right? Okay,
yeah,
we done did this for the 50th time, right? So we know what to do. We got our team is. We got our schedule. We got our Gantt charts. We know when it's
yeah,
supposed to end and need for this type of database and this type of, this much data, the speed of the network. So
yeah.
hopefully, as mature, you can start ticking it off and
And then
kind of
even
know. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, even speaking of that maturity, a lot of times you might want to upcharge at times if you're going into a
Oh,
less
facts.
mature organization because you're building stuff from scratch. So this is
Okay.
like you got to dig into the archives of your experience and of your mind. So you don't want to get paid the same thing that,
No,
say,
facts.
for instance, you're doing like I do, right? Industrial or OT cybersecurity. If they have an IT security section that's already established, but the industrial section is not established, I'm not gonna get paid the same that my counterpart on the IT side is gonna get paid
Facts. Facts.
because I have to build stuff up from bottom up. I have to do overlays. I have to
Facts.
incorporate new things that the organization does not have knowledge of. So yeah,
Right, so.
no,
But
I'm up
two
charged.
is yeah, facts. But two, I think that's why big consulting companies charge that. Because I used to hang out with the IBM guys in
Yeah,
1988 when I was doing mainframe JCL. Because when they came in and that back then you had to be suited up, man. Them
yeah,
dudes wear with tickets. They came in with the IBM methodologies. So they had shit just down pat, man. They had binders, that's before Google. So they had these methodologies. This
yep,
what we going in. It's how many people we need for this size. It's
hmm,
medium large. This is how long it's gonna take. So they just had all these methodologies. So they came in like a well-oiled machine, man. Look like they were
hmm.
weaving in basketball, man. Them dudes was putting it
I'm
down, man.
telling you,
So that's what you pay for theoretically when you get with one of those big companies. They said, man, we do this around the world, man. We got
yeah,
our methodologies. Now that's the Booz Allens and
yeah,
IBM still in there, the Oracles, Microsoft coming out with their team, AWS coming out with their
yeah.
guys, right? Because they say, man, we do this 100 times a day, man. So
And that's
that's what
actually
you
one
pay for.
thing. That's one thing that I do regularly. I'm building out a methodology that's
Mm-hmm.
repeatable. I'm creating templates. I'm creating decks.
Facts,
Everything that
facts,
less junior folk can come in and they can repeat the processes. So
facts, facts,
you get more of a consistent, kind of a homogenous method of delivery when you
facts.
have experts who are creating the methodologies because they've done it so many times. So yeah,
Facts. And that, like you
yeah,
said,
man.
that's why when those guys come up there, they charge you $250 for junior people because,
Yep.
like you said, they got the script, they got the sauce,
Yeah.
they coming in. Then the practice managers over them been doing this right, so that's why you pay that big dollar because they supposed to
Yep.
be coming in. Chris been moving and making things
Hmm.
happen, right? So, and
Yep.
two is let's just touch on that. You as a person, you as a AWS cloud engineer, Azure engineer, a cybersecurity engineer, you need to be building up your playbook personally so you can say, yeah,
Yeah.
I've done this. I've
Yep.
got this in my tool bag. When you part of PBO and we talking about these compliances, I can do it with my eyes closed,
Mm.
right? So
Yep.
I can
Yep.
help. I can help your engineering staff with this playbook, right?
Hmm.
I can help your DBAs. I know these checks,
Yep.
right? I know this ATO. You trying to get an ATO? I know these are the procedures to help you get ATO. And as a small company, right, I can help you get to that level so you can sell to Amazon or Azure. You can
Hmm.
sell to the state of Detroit, Indiana, Chicago, because we
Yeah.
got these methodologies to help them get to a certain level. You as a person needs to bring that. That's why you make the salary you make. Go ahead
Hmm.
on that. Go ahead on
And
that.
no, I was gonna say, and I think that that's actually an untapped market. Really, those small organizations
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm.
don't really have the funds in order to afford large organizations and the work. So that might be the retirement plan out of corporate America. Is really
Facts,
targeting
facts.
those small to mid-sized organizations that don't really have that don't really have the budget, but they can afford me. And I've worked with the large
No,
boys. I
facts,
work with the
facts.
big boys.
Facts,
So they're
facts.
getting a big bang for their buck. So that might be
Right.
something that I do down the line. I might even start establishing it now. I ain't gonna lie. And then me and you can go ahead. Me and go ahead. Listen, we go ahead and win some business, man. Let's
No,
do
facts, man,
it.
facts. I used to
Yeah,
have a company, man. I had me and three
I
other
remember you
guys.
telling me about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna interview one of the guys. We just had different visions at a time. They were trying to do
Yeah,
more hardware. I'm like, do hardware because you could build PCs and sell them, man. We were selling $1 million worth of PCs, man. I'm like,
yeah.
dude, Best Buy about to take us out, man. We got to move to software. They didn't want to go to software. I'm like, dude,
Mm,
this go in, man. This go
yeah.
in. Mm.
Yeah, Best Buy was a monster.
Yeah, they took you down Amazon and took everybody out. So
Everybody.
I see you EKNL moving from the big city to the small city with the
Hmm.
big city
Hmm.
sticker shot. Good luck on that. Hopefully and that's let me touch on that. I do not like going in the office, but the differentiator, if you're in a certain city or state, if you go in the office 2 days a week, you cutting down your competition by 90% because if
Mm,
I'm not in your state, I cannot compete with you.
okay.
When I apply to jobs online, we talked a little bit about it yesterday. It'd be 600 people apply for this one remote job
Yes.
because everybody.
Yes.
But if I apply for something in Indiana, Detroit, or Chicago, and I have to drive in, only the people in what 50 or 60-mile area can apply for
Yep.
that job, right?
And
So
Midwest, man. That Midwest is something.
yeah,
Hmm.
so I think especially if you're trying to get into the game, that's
Yep.
not a bad way to cut out your competition, man. Because
Hmm.
there's a decent amount of cybersecurity guys in the state of Indiana, but it's not a
Hmm.
ton that knows compliance well like I do.
Right.
But when I do remote, man, it'd be like 600 people applying for this job. And when I was applying for remote jobs, the competition was crazy. I was getting down to the last three, and I was losing
Mm.
every time. I'm like, damn, right?
Oh
But
wow.
they said, oh, you did good. We interviewed 600 resumes. We cut it down to 100. You made it to the last three. No, I'm not because I didn't get it. So,
Mm.
but that's it. So that is a hidden gem when you go in the office, that water cooler talk. PBL 55, he ain't trying to do that no more. But if you just get in the game, that's definitely a way to cut down your competition, work on your skills. You're taking a lot of people out the box. Go ahead and chime in on that, game.
Man, I'm not even trying to. I'm not even trying to go into the office either. So
Yeah, yeah. But you
you
at a
know.
level, you like me, you at a certain level. So you like, hey, I
Hey,
want all the competition. Bring it all on. I ain't scared of y'all.
hey,
So I ain't scared of y'all. So
absolutely.
but when you first get in, I think that's a differentiator, right? I said to cut
Yeah,
it down to get
yeah, it
you
is.
in a mix, kind of get you in the
Hmm.
mix. Let's see. Let's see. My Damon said, boom, boom. I can. This is Gabe. Introduce
Oh,
yourself. I thought you did, man. Introduce yourself.
oh yeah, I dropped the channel down
Okay.
there. Yeah, Gabe or Struggle Security is my YouTube channel. Feel free to check out the content over there. I cover cybersecurity, man, for people who are entry level and new to cybersecurity. So feel free to check it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we always on each other panel.
Yeah,
So
Tech Avengers, man. We the
fine. Yeah. That's a nice
yeah,
one.
man.
Yep. More info never hurts. Yep, he's got a channel. He dropped it in there, so definitely check it out. Two is I don't want to brag. He's in a large corporation. I work in large corporations, so we
Hmm.
telling you at a different level, right? So once again, I worked at DoD for 10 years, and I'm just gonna say it. Indiana Department of Revenue for 11. I was a
Yeah.
senior cybersecurity consultant. Matt, like you said on there, I was a SME and FISMA, DOD Stigs, Iris Pub 1075, and this. Those
Mm.
are kind of like how I make my money. That's how I eat, right? We always talk about what's your specialty, what's going to get you the bag. For me, that's my bag, right? Even
Yeah.
though I do security architecture, it's usually based on one of those compliance because Gabe's gonna come in, he's gonna set it up. I trust him, all that. I got to do an assessment and an auditor, make sure it passed. So when we get audited by the IRS for real every 3 years, we can
Hmm.
pass. And they're gonna send out their goons. Booz Allen comes out for the IRS. That's
Okay.
I call them their goons. So they come on site every 3 years when I was working in Department of Revenue. So I tell people I've had physical audits where I was on site talking to the auditors, wouldn't say arguing, having some vigorous discussions on some
Okay.
settings, right?
Yeah.
So, because after a while, it's gray areas, right? I couldn't do this. I did this. This is my mitigating control. I believe it meets these standards that you have, right? So you can have some good debates on that and kind of figure that out. So you want
Hmm.
to chime in on that?
Nah, I don't got nothing
That's
extra on
more.
that.
Yeah,
You
that's
covered
more
it.
me. That's more
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So, yep, this guy. Oh, that's you right there, it's brother Michael. Salute. Let's see. Thank you, kindly. Kind of going through this. That's old school CEO passing the word. I work for a company in Texas that was owned by the government in the 90s, but then got voted out to be its own company. Probably caused more out. Facts, man. People be, but they made it all of IT follow dress code. Facts, man. Yeah, I had to wear suits in the 80s, man. You don't have to do that. It's not till they stop.
Yeah.
Yep. Wear a
I
tie.
don't know
Yeah.
last time. Well, I used to go to New York for a couple of engagements, but that was the only time that I had to wear a jacket or a suit or anything.
My man gave me a shout out for the sticks. Appreciate the $5 for the barbecue fun. So yeah, I got a video on my channel if you want to check it out. Me, yeah, I got a couple of me stick talking about sticks. Let's see. You want to add anything while I'm looking around?
Nah,
Um,
I just know that those industry standards are so important. So I think that even for people who are just looking to get into cybersecurity, at least become familiar with maybe two or three of them, right?
yeah,
That
yeah.
you can have some different talking points to say, hey,
Hmm.
I'm familiar with these standards
Yep.
because the standards come from because who develops the standards? It's typically like a board or some type of working
Yeah.
group
Yeah. And
from
this
a
this
professional organization.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this has their working group, and they actually send out papers if you want to join. And two is
Yep.
they actually have researchers, and they actually get government fundings to give out colleges to try different stuff to figure
There
out
we go.
what's the best one. Keep going though. I'm gonna keep you going.
No, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, like there's a lot of opportunities that can arise from you knowing. Yeah, like Brother Michael says, like NIST, right? Knowing some
Hmm.
type of NIST compliant, because they have NIST standards for everything. So
Everything.
one that had just got released not too long ago was like the NIST 882 Rev 3. That is OT cybersecurity.
Yep. Yep.
How to establish an OT cybersecurity program,
Yep.
and that's like brand new. It just came out in September, so that's one that if you're looking to get into industrial type of cybersecurity, that's a big one.
What's the
Or
number?
800-82, and it's in Rev 3 now. And the thing is that Rev 2 came out like 2011, so
Oh
these
yeah.
things don't come out very often. And they have
No.
ones for cloud, they have ones for incident response and digital
Yeah.
forensics. They got them for almost everything that you can think about as it concerns like these terms in cybersecurity. They got a
Facts.
standard for it, especially NIST. I think
Yeah.
this is probably the most popular one, right?
Yeah, this is the most popular one by far,
Yeah,
and everything actually comes off in this. The IRS Pub is really NIST with their extra hooks in it to make it a
yeah,
little smart. CMC, which is DoD's version of NIST, it's
yeah.
just 171 with some extra hooks on it. The funny
Okay.
thing is, I probably got 20 NIST videos, and that's what I'm gonna show you the list I got.
Yeah,
Um, so that's what I'm gonna do is let's see, can you see that?
yeah.
So make
So
so yeah.
SP1. Yep.
So those are the ones I'm gonna go through, and I'm picking the ones out. So the one I'm working on right now is 800-160, which is engineering trustworthy. Let me make it
Okay.
a little big. So I'm gonna, like you said, go through and just start picking out the ones I think will be most useful to the
Yeah.
audience and people getting in there.
And
So
you're learning too on the way, right?
oh
You
yeah,
you
oh
like
yeah, yeah.
learning about the way that the industry looks at that type of cybersecurity concept or just any type of concept in tech.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah.
if you look, I did this one. I actually did a video, secure software development,
Hmm.
800-218. Like you said, there's so many of them out there. Distributed energy research, Internet of Things,
Yeah.
SP 1832. I think there was 112, but a lot of them I'm not gonna do. I think one of them was nuclear. I'm like, I'm not gonna. I'll get that one today.
Yeah.
The
Now
game.
that's one thing, right? Because there's like
Go ahead.
different types of industries, but there's also
Yeah.
different levels of
Right. Right.
I guess like not all NIST standards are created equal. Because some
Facts.
of
Facts.
them are kind of like kind of whack, but others are
Well,
very detailed and it really gets
well,
down to it. Yeah.
Yeah, the whack one. I would call it whack, but I know what you mean because I skipped it. I would call it more research based, where I don't think
More, yeah, more
it's not
research high
it's
level.
not a
Yeah.
practical input like this one right
Yeah.
here. You let me can you see that one I clicked on?
It's
Oh,
cryptographic module validation program.
yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So
Yeah. Like,
I
what
didn't.
is
I didn't think that would be practical to the audience. So I'm trying to
nah.
pick the most practical one as people for me to learn too, because as a consultant, I need to be kept abreast. So if I want a client, I'm like, oh, they say this 8, I should be able to at least understand it at a high level. Now I'm not gonna
Yeah.
understand every one of them, but I want to say if you mention one of them, I should understand from 90% of
Yeah.
what that is. So once
And
again,
then,
I
like you
work.
said, it goes from those NIST standards, but then it branches off into different industries, like
Yep,
with HIPAA. And I know in nuclear, you were mentioning, like, so we go based up on the NEI, the
yep,
Nuclear Energy Institute standards. So
yep,
it'd be like NEI 1310, NEI 0809 or something, right? So then
yep.
you branch off into other things, but a lot of times they do point back to NIST standards. So
Right.
NIST is a really good place to start. Yeah.
Right. And this is the base because, like you said, when you talking about access control, what does that mean for a nuclear power plant? That's not gonna be
Yeah.
your. That's not gonna be an AD joined server, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be a
Yeah.
little something else, right? So you go
Something
from
different.
so that then they go, like you said, take you to the NE's documentation for that. But this is kind of like, okay, access control. What is that for a nuclear power plant? What is that for electricity? So you don't brown out
Right.
and cascading control and black out the whole United States, right? What does
Yeah.
that look like?
Yep. And you get into a lot of different publications, like you were saying.
Oh
Like,
my
yeah,
God, it was so many. So I was trying, since I'm supposed to be that guy, I'm like, let me start doing. So every other week, I'm hoping to do a NIST
yeah.
one and get that.
But then you get into these things, these overlays. Like, I still don't really understand all the specifics as it concerns an overlay. Like, what does that mean? That means like one standard overlaying another. Base like, what's your? Let me take a step back.
Mhm.
What's your definition of an overlay?
Usually, when I think overlay is, like you said, it's a couple definitions. My definition of overlay too is if I'm doing this and we
Hmm.
can't meet that particular hardening,
Yeah.
overlay to means is I gotta customize it a little bit.
Okay. I thought
Then
that was
it
like compensating controls,
no,
or is that different?
it's different. It,
See,
it, it,
see, that's why I'm not GRC, man. That's why I
it
lean on PBO. Yeah, go ahead.
it's
I'm
weird.
like,
They say them a little, and two is let me put another context in there. Most organizations that fed
yeah.
they harmonize in multiple compliances. So I got to do
Mm,
IRS, but I'm sharing IRS data with a hospital. So now I got to do high trust and the IRS. So now I'm overlaying those two, right? And customizing.
mapping. I hear that a lot too. They
Oh
map
yeah,
one standard to a lot. That's
yeah.
another GRC mapping
And
overlay.
crosswalking. I hate the crosswalking is
Mm,
our old term, right? So a lot
yeah.
of times, okay, if you say access control, one of them
Yep.
could be something as simple as CISA. I said I think they're you can have an 8 length password.
Oh wow.
IRS
Really?
says no, you gotta have 14, and if it's computer to computer, it's gotta be 50. High trust
Mm,
says you need to have MFA included in there no matter what, right?
right.
So you got to pick
Right.
the highest one in there, right? And I hate the term. You got to harmonize them really to whichever is the highest level that you can reach and meet that particular compliance check. Go ahead.
So when you say highest level, is it always associated with what's most recent? Because you can have older, I guess, compliance standards that are more strict than
Yeah.
recent ones.
Yep.
Oh,
What usually it's because usually what happens is whatever auditor's gonna come in is gonna say, I want to see this. So if CJ
mm,
says 8 and I got 14, they're gonna be like, okay, you better, right?
right, right.
So that's kind of where the harmonizing comes in.
I see. I
But
see.
two
Okay.
is okay, and this tells you, okay, you say 14, but if I do MFA, I can have 8, right? Because now I got 2 forms of authentication, right? So even
Mm,
though it's 8, but I got MFA, it's more secure.
that's sticky.
Right. So you as a GRC's got to be able to make that call, then be able to articulate that to the auditors to make sure y'all come to a common understanding of
Right.
why you believe that's better or be able to justify that.
Okay. That
Right.
makes sense.
So that's kind of where now you're a senior person, and two is I do this a lot. So I'm talking to the CISO and the auditors to figure out what we need to do and why
Hmm.
I believe this is better and why I got to type it up in the CISSP. I'm sorry, to
Right.
the SSP when we give it to auditors your system security plan.
Okay.
So like you and I hate that harmonizing between those different compliances and figure out which one we need to make. And two is our organization might say, okay, only these 10 systems need to be high trust. So we're going to scope it just for this side of the organization because the other computers
Yeah.
have nothing to do with high trust. And we don't want to pay the extra money. so we will.
Mm.
So we need to, even though it's more secure, we can't afford it because we don't want to pay all that damn money to Splunk.
That's very true. It's very similar for other industrial standards. So not a NIST one, but it's called NERC. So it stands for
Okay.
North America Electric Reliability Corporation. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another organization, but they're a regulatory body. So for like all your electrical grid, all of your energy resources, they have guidance, they have regulatory standards for them. So they have to, so like you mentioned, you have to do an audit. But the thing about it is that they have certain regulatory standards for
Mm-hmm.
certain parts of organizations or certain
Facts.
assets. So they
Facts.
have what you call bulk electric energy or BESS systems,
Mm-hmm.
where they generate a certain amount of kilowatts or they generate a certain amount of power in comparison to other systems that don't generate that same. They can be in the
Okay.
same organization, but they
Facts.
have different standards,
Mm-hmm.
security standards that you must apply to them based upon their status within that
Mm-hmm.
regulation. So that's what I'm kind of hearing from you.
hundred
I'm
percent.
thinking NERC. Yeah. Hmm.
The cool thing is, shout out to my man. I'm sure he cut out is network, bruh. That's where you got to get your VLANs to say this can't communicate this.
Yep.
I'm controlling my traffic. If I get on this particular VLAN or subnet, it's gonna make me MFA in, right? So that's where you gotta have
Hmm.
all your checks, your compliances, and understanding your network, your architecture. How do you segment stuff? So your flat
Yep.
versus you're like you said. So yeah, so and that's where you got to understand basic networking as a
And then
cybersecurity guy.
PPS, right? Ports, protocols, and
Oh,
services.
facts. You
Right.
got to
So you might
control it.
have your segmentation, but you also might need to put some access control lists in there for
Oh,
necessary traffic and
yeah.
turn off stuff and harden systems
Oh
and
yeah. We turning
maybe,
everything up. You got to request it to be on. I need to see a ticket in
man,
the service now. As an auditor, we just say opening up no ports and protocol. If you got something open, we better have a ticket. It's because of this, communicating this, and
listen,
because
those
we get
government computers have the most limited
oh
applications and software on them. You can't do nothing but your job
facts.
if you
That's
got
what
a
I was gonna
government
say.
computer.
I know I'm doing what it's I know I'm doing my job when it's hard for you to do your job. That's what we used to say in
Exactly,
cybersecurity.
man.
So
It's crazy. You
I
can't even
mean,
you can't even touch you can't even touch the calculator.
nah, we don't want you.
People be taking that calculator app
Man,
off of the Windows
we
machine.
somebody reached out to me and we was talking about bring your own devices and Macs. I go, I don't like that. So
Nah, y'all.
I want to control it all, man.
Listen,
I need to be able to remote wipe what you have. So how we gonna do that? I need some
I need to get
MDM or
into
something.
my I need to get into my Instagram, my face. I need to be on YouTube. How I'm gonna jump on the panel with a government laptop?
Nah,
I
you
can't.
can't. You
I
can't.
cannot.
You have your own personal laptop side by side.
I need to be able to jump on the YouTube panel,
No, no.
but they ain't gonna let me. They
Nah.
ain't- and sometimes with the physical security standards, you can't even bring your own device into the office for a lot of government
No, you
environments.
gotta be special. I could bring
That's what I'm
mine in
saying.
because I'm special. Yeah, no,
See, listen,
no. And the thing too is, and just because you bring it up is, you gotta have your phone on because people be opening up hotspots at work. You can bring a puck in. You can be stealing all the government data through your own phone, and
yeah,
you can
you
tether
can.
and make a hotspot, man. I don't know
Yep.
you. I don't trust you. No, I'm just
But then
playing.
y'all have programs. There are additional like rogue
Facts.
wireless access or
And we looking
rogue devices.
and
Yep.
we looking for them. We looking
Yep.
for them. We got
Yep.
stuff open. If you had one young dude got fired, he thought they were playing. He opened up something so he could play his game. They escorted his ass out of
Oh
DOD.
wow.
That's 20 years ago, and I remember that shit like it was yesterday.
Wow, that's
They
crazy.
came in and said, pack your bag," and they called a consultant company. They had his consultant company in the damn conference room.
He was just playing solitaire.
I don't
That's
know
all he
what
was
the
doing. No,
man
he was
shit.
playing solitaire on the. I was like, you're
Man,
not supposed to have that. He
nah,
installed solitaire.
we don't be playing, man. You got to get special
Man,
creativity now. Let me read a couple of these while we wrap
sure.
it. Let's see. A317, he said, facts. I'm in Indy right now. drive pretty outside city to work. Yeah, that's where I'm from. Trying to
Hmm.
find me a remote work or something downtown. Like we just said, reach out to me. I will look at the State of Indiana website. I'm sure they're looking for some people. Department of Revenue been hiring. Oh, let me keep reading. He was in there. Yeah, my small time company now is trying to become a bank future,
Mm,
and we just now touching this. So me learning all this extra stuff. I'm taking notes. Yeah,
I'm
reach out
telling you,
to me.
man.
I think I'm gonna do a super low course in NIST. I mean, Gabe been talking
Yeah.
about that up, and I've been talking about that. So yeah, I think it. Check out my man. Simply Cyber. He has a super low course,
Yeah.
GRC course to get you in. Go check him out. Once again, if you need those links, reach out to me, professorblackops@gmail.com. Just go to my about page. My
Yeah.
email's in there.
I'm saying, man, you should make a course. Just like break it down from a high level and then
Mm-hmm.
provide the resources and then just iterate on it. Just be like, okay, now this is the intermediate one. Now this is
But
the advanced one, man. Like
yeah,
I'm
that's what I
telling you.
think. That's what I think I'm gonna do. Partner
Yeah.
been hiring for cloud like crazy. It must be a new building. Might give it a shot. Yeah, give it a shot. Reach out to me,
Hmm.
man. 8317. I got a few contacts down there, man. Reach out to me. I might be able to do an introduction for you. Just reach out to me, man. We can chop it up.
Oh, there we
Um,
go. Look at Aiken. He says save the goodies for the membership. And
facts.
release the course on I might do that. Release the course on membership and see
Yeah,
what
that's
that's
what I'm
like.
gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do.
Ah, okay.
That's what I'm gonna do. Membership. So I've been. There's my man.
Yeah, because I don't have a membership yet. Because
I haven't either.
I don't have anything to offer additional right now. So
I was
I
just
don't
gonna
want to be
see.
taking people money.
Yeah, I was just gonna do $2.99 support the barbecue fund.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
just thinking about how much learning do you do on the job these days as a senior? Hey, can I do a lot? But once again, I think
Man.
I'm trying. I'm up there with struggle. I'm an A-type personality. I need to get. I got 4 AWS certifications last year. I'm trying to get really in the cloud because that's gonna be my last 10 years, and I'm out. Like
Yeah.
like
It's
game
there.
for me. I need my last 10. So two is and like me and Gabe just talked about it. It's really what you want to do is I'm trying to get to the next level. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
get this new knowledge. So for me, I'm always learning. So I think it
Yeah.
depends on the person. And two is let's be real. When I got my degree, I was doing JCL and mainframe for a lot of my
Yeah.
stuff. So you got to keep up with the new stuff. Like, so me, I turn it a lot. A137. I don't want to give out too much information, but this is one of my Indiana government contacts in the building. Shout out to
Okay.
CL. He
Shout
actually
out.
works at the, I ain't gonna give his agency. He works at the state of Indiana. Definitely
Yeah.
one of my big homies, even though I got him by 20 years. He got the CISP, so I'm giving him some love. I'm studying.
Oh, dope.
So yeah, A317, I can probably hook you up with CL and see if we can slide you in somewhere at the state of Indiana, man. See if we can reach out to me. I got a few contacts.
That's what's up.
Salute to Keep It Techie. I'll drop the link and see if he wants to come up. Or if
I did
anybody
want
wants
to
to.
comment on what to learn. What
Oh
I
yeah,
would
go
learn.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Man, so right now I'm learning a lot of enterprise or IT incident response and threat hunting. So
Oh,
I'm
fine,
taking one
fine.
of the SANS classes right now. It's SFOR 508. So it's like advanced enterprise incident response and threat hunting. And this is a whole new skill set that I never had. So you get into like the registry, the Windows registry for finding evil. You get into what lateral movement looks like on the Windows machine,
Oh my God.
Windows events log, jumping into all the tools. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. So that's what I'm learning. But I'm also at the same time looking to kind of increase my analysis skills, especially for like PCAPs and network traffic. So
Facts, facts.
I'm messing around with Security Onion a bit more, and I'm kind of throwing in like industrial protocol detections for certain things like data exfiltration and lateral movement and what it looks like when people log into applications they shouldn't. So, but just from a network security perspective. So those are just some of the things I got on the docket right now that I'm learning.
Yeah, and real quick, and I did a video on that. 800 this 800 207 is
Yeah,
zero trust. You know, we trying to block the lateral movement with the zero
yeah.
trust. And how you doing? It there's a different way. What's up, my man from Australia? How you doing? Welcome up. You there?
He says hi.
I
He
can't hear you though.
put
Where
in
did you?
the
I
message in the
said
back.
I see it. I see it. Can you hear me?
Sometimes it's a little difficult with the audio because you got the input and the audio output.
Yeah.
I thought it was the output was the mic, but it's
Okay.
actually he says he has an issue with his audio.
You think you should flip the input and output?
Try to flip the audio input and output because the input is where my mic is, and the output is my headphones. So see if that helps.
You think he can hear you? Can you hear Gabe?
I think
What?
so.
Why
Here, I'll
he's
just type
work?
it in the back.
Yeah, cool. While Gabe's working on that, let's see. Yeah, he can hear you. Yeah, he can hear you, Gabe. Like you said, flip him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, EKNL, we can definitely chop it up. Like I said, I'll probably do a cheap membership for the NIST. And if you ever get stuck, my man will tell you we can jump on a quick this app I'm using. We can just do a private conversation,
Yeah.
EKNL. If you ever get stuck on this, I got your back, man. We can talk about it. Like I said, most jobs I see that. Yep, brother Michael, you're right. This
Mm-hmm.
that's super hot now. I ain't gonna say super hot, it's always been hot. Like I said, it's a hidden gem.
Mm-hmm.
But this wasn't original gut base. Is that wasn't I'm assuming is why some of it's dry crypto nuclear. I think it was educational. Then I think it
Yeah.
moved up into the government.
Oh, I think we can hear him now.
I can hear you now. You got a little feedback. You might want to put some
I
headsets
can
on.
hear you now. You got a little feedback. You might want to put some headsets on.
Yeah, feedback is horrible.
I'm actually move out the way and drop down because I'm gonna go ahead and get some sleep, and I'm gonna let you guys rock out.
Oh
But yeah,
shit, it
thanks,
is 11.
thanks for having me, man.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it, Gabe. Wow, I was like 11. Thanks for coming up, Gabe. I appreciate you, man.
absolutely. Time flies when you're having fun, man. So
All right.
I'll make sure to catch the next one. All
I
right.
appreciate you, man. Thanks for
All right,
coming
then.
up.
Peace out. Bye bye.
How you doing tonight? Hello? How you doing tonight? Can you hear me in Australia? I was hearing a little feedback. I didn't know if you want to come on. But while he's working on that, we'll keep reading through these. And this is originally government bank. I think it was educational. And of course, the government funds education. So I think those it's always super dry. It's super dry. No, you facts. It is super dry, man. I think that's one of the things that makes you an expert when you get in it. Because I mean, what makes you now I got a couple this is I got a few videos I think kind of breaks it down, makes it a little easier, but no, it's a dry subject. So B-Lands, BACLs, facts. Oh, okay, B-Lands. Yeah, reach out. I have to let me reach out to a few people. What specifically are you looking for? A1317. Once again, shoot me an email, professorblackops@gmail.com, and we can chop it up. Like I said, I got a few resources. So it's pretty flat in Indiana. It's pretty easy to drive, pretty flat. You can set up a remote connections that's secure that you can do from home and see if anyone looks for you. We ain't gonna be looking for you. Once again, so let's see. Once again, just kind of just those were compliances we were talking about rolling over to the state, cities, smaller organizations or places to get your foot in the door. What's up, buddy? See if you can hear me now.
I can hear you now, actually.
Okay. How are you doing tonight in Australia?
It's tonight for you, actually. It's morning for us. I'm still working.
That's cool. No, you're right. It's about 11. That's almost that's 11:20 here. I'm like, oh my god, my buddy from big consulting company. You saw him up there. He was cutting out because he got to work in the morning. I'm thinking I got to work too. But how's everything
Yeah,
going? We had a few conversations, so hopefully
yeah,
got
100%. Like, it's amazing to have a chat with you always.
appreciate it.
And thank you for letting me know that you're doing a live session today. So I
That's
thought I'll
cool.
jump in my break time.
That's cool. You got any questions you want to talk about on over the
I've,
audience?
I've, I've so many questions, but I'll keep it for later.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure. Actually, you're doing a live session. This is my first time doing live
Okay.
on YouTube.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried. I was on that one guy's live yesterday, and the other guy in the chat, I was on his live Sunday. So I'm usually on everybody's lives on the weekend. So that's kind of one things I try to do. And like you said, just and like you brought up, just answer people's real questions and just try to help them from a realistic standpoint. So
Yeah, 100%. I think since you're in compliance, you get to see a lot of stuff and get to ask a lot of questions, and you determine what the risks are. So yeah, that's always good, and you can share your mindset with the people that are actually following you, and that makes a real difference. It's better than actually certifications. I think it's
okay.
much better than that. Yeah. So I think cybersecurity is it's more about the mindset of what your mentors are doing, and then once that actually accumulates in your work, like work activities, it makes a huge difference.
No, that's true, and that's why I try to do videos on certain stuff, videos on different NIST stuff, videos on zero trust network, videos. I most of the compliances on the screen I got videos on most of them. CGIS, CMC, DOD, FedRAMP, FIPS, FERPA, FISMA, GXPs for pharmaceuticals. So I got videos on most of those. So when people ask me, I can shoot them, which I do to you a lot, shoot you a video. So um, I probably need to start cutting my videos down because a lot of my videos are in super long form. So um,
No, I don't think so. I think when you're talking about a topic and the video actually goes up, it's because you're bringing your thought process into it as well, right? You're
that's a good
sharing your
point.
experience, and I think that's needed. That's
Okay.
needed because a question gives you an opportunity to ask another question, right? And then it becomes a conversation, and that's what you do in your current business activities as well.
Yeah.
You're asking questions, something comes up, and you're trying to do compliance activities, and then that actually ticks off five or six other boxes just by doing a conversation.
Oh, fine. That's true. That's true. You dig in. Let me read a couple of these questions real quick. Aiken says, "Save the goodies for the membership." So yeah, I'm gonna do a low cost membership. So we could contribute
Yeah.
to the barbecue fund. It's coming, Aiken. I appreciate you. Let's see. First off, be the one to play the COD on the DOD to use the fire credit. You trying to get me fired, man? Nah, we ain't doing that. Like I said, I see somebody escorted out, so this is always exciting, man. The knowledge experience in the room is on point. I appreciate you, Desmond. Yeah, that's why I always try to have my guys come up. Shout out to and two is, and I want to show people there's a lot of talent out on YouTube. And the guys I bring up, like my man said, is we're gonna go through and we're not hiding anything. We're gonna tell you what's gonna happen, and from our perspective too, right? We're not trying to
Yeah.
talk around the bush or not try to tell you something, right, Desmond? So yeah, so me, Gabe, Keep It Techie, Tech G, there's just so many people I have.
Mm.
Um, I'm just so women in Linux. Shout out to them. There's just so many people out here I just roll with that are just super good. Black Heights. It's just it. Let's see. Read a few more of these. Yeah, it'd be a good check out too. Learning Wireshark really helps in that way. Yeah, facts. Let's see, DP Scribe. I use Wireshark some because when people set up the network, shout out to Network Bruh. When he sets up the network, I would use Wireshark to send packets to make sure certain protocols were being blocked, certain traffic was being blocked. I couldn't get certain parts of the network because, like we were talking about, Gabe was talking about from nuclear, but your network should be segmented, right? You should have a flat network. Then when I was at the state of Indiana, each big agencies they had their own section of network, and other agencies couldn't get their work because you want to segment it out to control your traffic. So Wireshark helps you validate those different Wireshark in maps, just stuff you can use to send traffic to see if it's blocked and see if it gets to the part of the network it shouldn't. So how's your day? Well, how's your morning going? How's your day at work going?
It has been interesting. We're trying to start a proper vulnerability management program,
Okay, okay.
and yeah, but it's a lot of new things to learn, and I've used callers before, but
Mhm.
um, this is a totally new environment. Hmm.
Yeah, that's my go-to for small companies. Really, is Qualsys. A lot of big
Hmm.
companies usually use Nexus, Rapid Sevens out there, but smaller companies, I think for the bang for the buck, I think Qualsys is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I
It's
think this question is very interesting.
Oh, struggle. Oh, yeah. Typically use Wireshark for specific network traffic. It's a bit difficult to search for even through the verbosity of Wireshark. Brim, Zeke, and Circade are huge helps. Yeah. Shout out to Struggle. Like I said, he's obviously going more in depth because he does more red team stuff. Me, I'm just trying to see if the traffic made it. So once again, he's searching for bad guys. As threat hunting, I'm sure is part of Gabe and Struggle Security. What he does from a red team thing is part of that. So Brim and Zeke, I'm gonna need to look at those because once again, I just usually use the basic Wireshark. So
Hmm.
that's why too I like to have different people on the panel with different skill sets, right? He's more red, I'm more blue, so you get
Hmm.
different versions of what he does compared to what I do, and like I said, how we use the tools in different ways. And like you said, he has extra tools that I probably don't use. Like I said, I probably would just do that or Nmap. Let's see. Okay, that's a friend of mine that reaches out to me in Australia. So once again, like you, he reached out to me EKNL. He liked some of my videos, so he reached out to me, and once a quarter we chop it up, and he asked me some questions, and I answered them. So we're actually in the same Discord. So he pings me. I'm usually in a Discord answering questions for about 6 different Discords. So
Six
uh,
different ones, yeah.
yeah, because all my homies got one, so I try to support them. Shout out to Network Bruh. It's my networking guy. He does Cisco stuff, so he has a Discord. So I try to help him with cybersecurity hardening for those who are just hardening perspective from networking. So
Hmm.
appreciate you, DC. But I appreciate you coming up, man. Old people about to go to bed, man. But I'm sure I'm gonna see you on the Discord, so I'm gonna shut this down.
100%.
I appreciate you, man. We're going back and forth. Like I said, I think we had a good conversation today in the Discord.
Yeah, yeah.
So I appreciate it. Thanks for coming up.
No problem at all. Please take care
All
and
right.
have a good night.
I'll see you. I'll talk to you
See ya.
later.
Bye.
Bye bye. Shoot your last few questions in there. PBO winding it down. I'm like, oh my God, this is almost midnight. A317, hit me up. ProfessorBlackOps at gmail.com. If I don't hit you back in 2 days, hit me back. I'm sure I'm gonna get back with you, but sometime I don't get the email or something happen. I don't ignore people. Sometimes I just don't answer my I got you more info. Always makes me happy. Always good. It just yeah, but yeah. Once again, hit me back. Well, like I said, ask a few more questions. Like I said, I'm I'm winding it down. Just kind of want to talk about this as a high level. It was actually a continuation from struggle security. Somebody asked me about working for the state and what I actually thought about that. And so I thought, well, let's talk about once again Fed flowing down to the state. Some of the states sometimes can't pay people what they need to pay them. So they seem to always be looking for people. It's a lot of people. A couple people said that they didn't make a lot, but that's how they got their foot in their door, so they can pivot to other things, right? So appreciate you, Aiken. What is the link for Discord and a membership? Those aren't my Discords, Creola. Let me look real quick. I'm just in them. All the guys at Discord in there. I'm sure Keep It Techie's gone. Keep It Tech. If you in there, drop your Discord in there. Network, bro. If you in there, drop your Discord in there. Let me see if I can find a link into it. I just clicked the button and I'm in there. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull up a few. Uh, You're gonna have to give me you're gonna have to catch me next time on that Discord membership. Those are mine, so I gotta figure out those links to them. To be honest, I've been in them so long. I'm like, but one of them is Network Bros. If you write it down, keep it techie, simply cyber. Um, Gabe doesn't have a Discord yet. Kev Tech probably is the biggest one. Everybody's familiar with Kev Tech. He's in there, and before the billions, his is in there. Those are one crew. My problem. My bad. My bad. I'm not a Discord. I'm in there, but I'm not a Discord user like that. My bad. I apologize. I have them ready next time. I have people drop their Discord in there before they leave. I'm scrolling up. I don't think anybody dropped their Discord in there. But yeah, once again, I'm going to check my email in case somebody sent it. I don't think I checked my email in a couple of days. But yeah, once again, professorblackops@gmail.com. Look in my about. Too, if you're looking for these compliances, I have a compliance playlist on my YouTube page. I have some cloud training, some cloud forensic training, and I have some compliance playlists. My goal, hopefully by the end of the year, is have all of these at least one video, long form, at least an hour and a half talking about it. I got a CGIS video. I got 2 CMC videos. I got a FedRAMP video. I got a FIPS video. I got a FISMA video. I got a GXP. I got 3 NIST videos. I got 2 Zero Trust, which talks about what Gabe talks about, stopping lateral movement from a NIST perspective. And those are the things, in membership, I probably, just start talking about those more in a class thing. But that's all I got for tonight. I'm sure you're going to see me on these YouTube streets. I appreciate what, oh, yeah. PCI. That's an excellent question. I'm gonna touch on it real quick. Is PCI is super hot, but you have to be PCI certified, right? There's no FedRAMP personal certification. You can get some certs. PCI is a physical certification. You have to be at a certain company to be able to sit for the PCI. I probably talk about PCI. I think from a security perspective, I think PCI from a security is not very robust, not very sturdy. I think it's very light on security from a security perspective, from a PCI. But you're right, I need to at least touch on PCI. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not a huge fan of PCI. All these securities I have up there, I probably like all of them. It's probably MPA, which is movie. I like all those better. I think they're more secure than PCI. So that's my little issue with PCI. I think I ain't gonna call PCI a scam, but I just doesn't think from especially where we taking out credit cards, you would think even from a level 3, I would think PCI from a hardening perspective would be a little better. So that's kind of my issue with PCI. On Facts EKNL. Some PK they had some issues with Discord. I'm going to do a video probably first thing in the morning. I think some nation states were hitting Discord again. So I got about 3 videos on Discord getting it turning all into a of course. I probably will, Aiken. I want to give some of it free though, Aiken. We gotta help the people out, Aiken. But facts, we probably increased the barbecue fund, but a lot of stuff is gonna be super cheap. For a lot of people, a couple people just joined. I taught 10 years cybersecurity at a community college, so I do have an extensive teaching background. Privacy, shout out, yeah, facts to the privacy. I just feel like we just throwing our privacy, but get the rest. I appreciate this. The whole talk has been damn. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm glad everybody, most people enjoyed it. Shout out to Greg. I'm definitely gonna hit that PCI a little bit. Like I said, I'm not a fan of PCI, but it's definitely in the mix. It's definitely a ton of people. A friend of mine had a restaurant. He got hacked, and Visa wouldn't let him charge credit cards for a month, and he almost went out of business. So definitely PCI is in there. I was actually reading a report. He paid 25 grand from some firm in Chicago to do a forensic analysis of his restaurant. So it was super interesting. I might talk about that in another video. Professor Black Ops, please subscribe. I appreciate everybody joining me. Once again, check out my channel front page. I got a bunch of training video, and once again, I got a compliance playlist. Let's get it. Tomorrow's Hump Day. Let's get it. It's out there to get. Everybody have a nice night. Once again, reach out to me. Give me 2 days to reach out. Ping me again. If not, you can find me on the streets and give me a shout out and ask me why I didn't reach your email. I'm on Keep It Techie, Gabe, the Brain Trust. I'm in Women in Linux. you always catch me. And those guys can ping me too. But once again, ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. Let's make this happen. 8317, hit me up. Like I said, I got a few Indiana resources. I can see if we can chop it up, and I can see if I can hook you up with somebody to help you get something going. I'm out. Professor Black Ops. Please subscribe. Everybody have a good night. Old people going to bed.